This is a book that Mrs. Ely found a couple of years ago, and it became part of our service project. And I'm sure after we've read it, you will see how it fits right into the themes that we've been talking about of giving and service. Before I get started, make sure that you have your Thoughtful log out and a pencil. And if you could just turn in that front section to our notes about service. Should be in the front here. Okay, that's the last thing that we did. And we're going to put the title right here underneath the book. If you haven't found your page yet, feel free to pause the video while you find it. This book is called What is Given, Given, from the Heart. Okay, make sure that you are on a whole new line so you can start with your theme over here, and that you capitalize the first word, the last word, and every important word in your title. If you hear a bell in the background, that's just our little gray kitten, and she may jump up and say hello to us at some point. But that is her little bell that Kate got her. So put that in there, and as I'm reading the book, if you have ideas about the theme of this book, some of them you might see up here as well, please jot them down as we go. Sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulty, but Kate's gonna help me out here. All right, so this is the cover of our book, What is Given from the Heart, and it's by Patricia C. McKissick and April Harrison. Right. It says, it was a rough few months for Mama and me. We were already poor, but we got poorer last April when Daddy went to sleep on the front porch and never woke up. Mama cried and cried because Daddy didn't have a suit to be buried in. Come June, we lost the farm and moved to a rundown shotgun house in the Bottoms. On Friday the 13th, it rained frogs. Everything flooded, and Smitty, my dog, disappeared. Misery loves company, Mama said, shaking her head as she swept water out the back door. I hugged her up close, the way I always did when she was sad or I was scared. Long as we have our health and strength, we are blessed, James Otis, Mama said, trying to sound brave. But things didn't get any better. So if you look at this illustration of the houses, a shotgun house is a house that if you fired a gun from the front door to the back door, it would be able to go through all of the rooms in your house. So all of the rooms are just kind of in a straight line, so you have to walk through one room to get to the next room to get to the next room. So that's what that means. And I believe this week we will have a Friday the 13th, so hopefully yours goes better than his is. We got an early snowfall in November, and Christmas was skimpy, but we made it through to the new year. So it looks like Ma's right, as long as they have each other. Before I realized, February was upon us, with Valentine's Day just 2 weeks away. One Sunday, Reverend Dennis made an announcement during services. Just as we always do, we'll be delivering love boxes to needy folk in our community, he said. Irene Temple and her little girl have lost everything in a fire. We must add them to our list. Next week, bring whatever you think might be useful to them. Remember, what is given from the heart reaches the heart. James Otis, we need to help out, Mama said on the cold walk home. I came back with, how are we gonna do that, Mama? We ain't got nothing ourselves. Mama kept right on talking. Sister Bunch told me that the daughter's name is Sarah. She's 7, 2 years younger than you. You can find a little bit of something for her, don't you think? I wasn't convinced. What do I have that a little girl would want? Now, said Mama. Remember what Reverend Dennis said. What is given from the heart reaches the heart. So I don't know if any of you are making a connection to Frankie's oranges here, but I think Frankie got that message when he gave that sweater away. That night, I lay warm and toasty under one of Mama's quilts. Still, it made me tremble to think about fire taking away what little we did have. What could I give Sarah to make up for all she's lost, I wondered. I considered the blue ribbon I'd won in the school spelling bee. Nah, the award was important to me, but it would mean nothing to her. I looked over at my beautiful sparkling rock, the one I'd found down by the creek. But how would that help Sarah? You can't eat a rock. Unable to come up with anything good, I pulled the covers over my head and drifted off to sleep. Come morning, I found Mama in the kitchen busy sewing. I know if we had a fire, I would miss my aprons, Mama explained, so I've decided to make Mrs. Temple one. But Mama, you're using your white tablecloth, the only nice thing that you have. James Otis, I'm stitching with a loving heart. My hope is that this apron will give as much joy to Mrs. Temple as the tablecloth has given me. Mama's smile was a welcome sight. So again, when you're helping other people, lots of times you get just as much joy from giving as they do from receiving. That made me study harder on what I could contribute. Maybe Sarah would like something to play with, like my whistle from Dexter Benson's birthday party. But my spit was all over it. What about my crayons? I drew so many pictures with them, even though the black, pink, and dark blue was missing. No way. I couldn't give her used crayons, and I couldn't give her my pencil that was just a nub and not much eraser left either. As time flew toward Valentine's Day, I fretted more and more. I considered giving Sarah a puzzle. It didn't bother me that 2 pieces were missing, but it might bother her. Oh, that wouldn't do, not even with a bow on it. And neither would my capeless Superman Halloween costume. Then I remembered my book, Things That Roll. Mom had paid 10 cents for it at the resale shop. I read it every night until I'd memorized each word, and then I drew pictures of all the stuff that rolled. Sarah might enjoy my book, I thought, but maybe she didn't like trucks and marbles and such. But still, it got me to thinking. I gathered my crayons, my pencil, and some paper, and I got busy. On a Sunday before Valentine's Day, we were off to church. Along the way, Mama told me, as usual, the trustees will deliver the love boxes to the homes of the needy, but Reverend Dennis has invited the Temples to receive theirs at Olive Chapel so they can meet the congregation. And the congregation is a group of people that meet at the church. The church was full. Mama beamed as she carefully placed the apron in the box. When we presented the Temples with their love box filled with all kinds of clothing, food, tools, and toys, Mrs. Temple was overcome with emotion. The congregation shouted, "Amen." There they all are. That's the congregation of that church. Even so, Sarah seemed sad and afraid. She clung to her mama's arm and hid her face. I walked over to where they were standing. "Hi, Sarah," I said, sounding cheery-like. "My name is James Otis, and I'm pleased to meet you." "Same to you," she answered, looking at her feet. "Here," I said, handing her my gift. "I wrote it, drew the pictures, and put it together myself, just for you." Sarah managed a smile as she stared at the book I'd made. Then, real slow-like, she read the cover. From My Heart to Your Heart by James Otis Petway. "It's about a little girl named Sarah Ann." "Don't tell me," she said. "I want to read about myself by myself." "I can't believe it," she squealed. "A book about me." Then she covered her mouth to catch a giggle. Seeing little Sarah happy made me happy too. I laughed out loud. I put some hard words in so you can look them up. You sound like my teacher. Sarah pressed the book to her heart, closed her eyes, and whispered, "Thank you, James Otis. I will keep this book forever and ever." Walking home, Mama held my hand. "The Temples look very grateful," she said. "I think we reached their hearts," I said. Mama nodded. "I'm proud of you, James Otis." "How come?" I asked. "'Cause you're you." In winter, nights come early. The sky was darkening and it had started to snow. I stuck my tongue out to catch a snowflake as Mama spun joyfully round and round. So I'm wondering, before I turn the page, if anybody was thinking about something that might be waiting for them when they get home, based on some clues in the text and the fact that they've had something hard happen in their lives. Suddenly, Mama stopped. "Look, there's something on our porch," she said. I rushed ahead, and there it was. A love box had been delivered to us. And our hearts rejoiced. Our hearts rejoiced. So if you think about the people that we are helping out with our service project, unfortunately, you all won't get to be there when they receive their boxes, but Ms. Favor and I and Mr. Tisdale sometimes get to meet with the families, and I have to tell you, they are just as happy as James and his mom are. So that's because of all of you and the work that you did. So that is our book. And if you would, now, if you already have it, make sure that you are, let's see here, writing down a few themes of things that you think might have been in that story. We definitely have service, so I'm going to give you that one. But I'm hoping that you came up with a couple of others as we read the book. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is click on the link in Google Classroom that is the Padlet. And I'm hoping this will work. What you're going to do is respond a little bit to our this Padlet with your ideas of what the theme might be for this story. So what you're going to do once you get into the Padlet, it says click on the plus at the bottom to respond with your ideas about the theme of the story. So down here is the plus sign. When you click on that, okay, you're going to get a place where you can type, and you can type in your subject. My suggestion here for the subject would be, if you look up here, we're going to answer and complete sentences and give evidence from the text to support your ideas. But then it says, remember to include your name to get credit for completing the assignment. So I would start right there with my name, and that way you can be sure that you're not going to forget to put your name in there. And then you're going to click right down here. And I'm actually going to see if Kate will come over and hold my phone for just a minute so I can give you an example of, if you can just hold it right on the screen. I'm going to add my idea about service here. So I think that the story, story, what is given from the heart, let's see, includes the theme of service. In the text, the congregation, I like that word, of the church, let's see, they create love boxes for families that have lost someone or had a difficulty, like a fire, doing service for others would be donating to a box like that. So if you could just, thank you, my dear, tell me what your theme is, or maybe more than one theme, and then tell me something from the text that supports your ideas. And remember those ideas we had, like according to the text, or on the second page, or the author stated, or the character. Gosh, I've already forgotten their names. I'm sure you'll remember them. See, so we've got Mama and we have James Otis, right? So if you want to talk about a character and something they thought or something they did, to support your idea of the theme. Once you're done, you're going to click right here on Publish, and it should pop right into a Padlet. And you are welcome, and I actually hope you will, read some of the different things that are published by your classmates. And if somebody has a theme that you didn't think of that you think would be, that fits the story really well, feel free to come over to your Thoughtful Log and add that right in there as well. So I hope you enjoyed the story, and I miss you all very much. I'm looking forward to being back with you on Monday, but I'm sure I'll see you before then.